All right, I got four movies. Is that correct? Four movies that open this week, and I will review all four of them for you. Also, Harold and Maude. We've talked about that from time to time. Ruth Gordon and Bud Cort. 18-year-old, a suicidal 18-year-old falls in love with an 80-year-old. Have you guys ever seen that movie? It's terrific. It's out on Blu-ray now, on Blu-ray DVD, and it's wonderful. Ruth Gordon has since gone to her eternal reward, but she is the cutest, sexiest 80-year-old you've ever seen. Will remind all of you of your grandmother. And Bud Cort, I've actually met Bud Cort in the years since, but it's really a terrific movie and was a huge success. I think it came out in the mid '60s. I don't have it in front of me, but I did want to sort of give you a heads up on that. Okay, this week's movies are a little bit off the beaten track. Let me just tell you what all four of them are, and then I'll go back and review them because there's not a gigantic movie that opens this week. All right, we've got Marina Abramovic, The Artist is Present. We've got Rock of Ages. We've got Your Sister Sister and The Tortured. Okay? I'll start at the back for no particular reason. The Tortured is supposed to be sort of a shaggy, I called it a shaggy rabid dog story. You know what a shaggy dog story is one that takes a very long time to tell, and there's a predictable ending, and it's kind of a like, what, at the end? I didn't quite get it. The idea is a couple decide to take justice in their own hands after their son is brutally murdered. Not much fun. I'm not going to tell you the ending because it'll give everything away, but this is one of those movies that I don't know who they expect to go see this. I really don't. It will keep you. It's interesting. It'll keep your attention, but it's gruesome. Okay, it is vaguely thought-provoking, but I don't know who's going to go see this movie. This is one of the ones that will probably be okay as like a cult fave on DVD, but it is quite gruesome. All right. Your Sister Sister. It's described as a tale of brief romance and sibling rivalry. This one starts Mark Duplass, who's going to be on our program in the next couple of weeks, and his brother. He's every place these days. Who's the hero of this? Who's best friends with Emily Blunt. At his brother's memorial service, he sort of falls apart. He goes up to Emily's cabin, which she invites him to go see, at which point he runs into her sister unexpectedly, who's Rosemary DeWitt, who's in a lot of movies this summer as well, who's a lesbian, even though they spend the night together. Are you still with me? Okay. Emily appears unexpectedly, so they decide whether or not to keep their liaison a secret, and then what happens. I kind of like this movie. I thought it was sweet. The ending will leave you guessing a little bit, but it's three really talented, low-key actors who all seem sort of very comfortable in their own skin, who don't seem to be acting, but living, and it's kind of fun to watch them. Emily Blunt I've run into at screenings, and she's lovely. We first saw her in The Devil Wears Prada, which they're making they're doing an upgrade of that soon. And this is just three characters that you really like spending the time with. And one of my complaints about movies that I've seen the last couple of weeks is you hate spending 90 minutes with a lead character because she's just so unpleasant. This is exactly the opposite. You actually enjoy spending the time with them because you feel like these are people that you could actually enjoy at a dinner party. All right, I'm going to do Marina next, and I'll leave Rock of Ages for the last one. This is a very odd movie about sort of an odd woman. It's a documentary that deals with a woman whom I'd never heard of, Marina Abramovic, who's supposed to be kind of the grandmother of performance art. It's going to take you a while. You're going to have to kind of sit still for this for a while to get into this. And what it documents at the end is an extraordinary exhibition that she did at MoMA, which is the Museum of Modern Art in New York, which some Twinkie from Fox refers to as the Metropolitan Museum of Art, except it's not. It's a Museum of Modern Art, but nevertheless. Where she sat, this is what she did. Get this. She sat every day for 3 months in a chair with a table between herself and allowed the public to come in and sit across from her without saying anything or doing anything. She did this for 8 hours a day. Think about this. You're going to MoMA, and you're sitting, and she wears this kind of huge kind of garment. I think it may have been so that she could tinkle during the time she was sitting there. It's not clear. She didn't eat or drink. And the public could just come and sit in a chair across from her and spend as much time there as they wanted. I think there might have been some restrictions that after 20 minutes or half hour or something. And at the end, where there were more people and it got more notoriety, the time may have been shortened. But it becomes this kind of touching, revealing thing of what happens when you just sit and look somebody in the eye, and that's her performance art. But the effect it had on people, and the effect it'll have on you, is really extraordinary. And if people apparently projected themselves into her. It's thoughtful, it's interesting, it's fresh. It's a really terrific documentary. Be nice to have her in the program. I don't know if we could get her on. And it's hard to describe. It's more a visual thing. But the documentary, it's called The Artist is Present, is really, I mean, what it means to be in the here and now, as opposed to thinking about what you're going to do for dinner tonight, or worrying about your ex, or any of the kinds of things that most of us spend our lives worrying about. She sits there and makes eye contact with strangers, and they make eye contact with her, and they don't talk, they don't touch, and it's really an extraordinary documentary. Okay, Rock of Ages. I saw this on Broadway, and I thought mostly what it was noisy. It's got some great songs from the 80s in it, but the thing about on Broadway is, as I said, it was very noisy. It was one set, for obvious reasons, and the whole thing occurred there. The story, such as it is, and this is certainly a jukebox musical, is that we have a guy working at a bar, and this girl comes in from Kansas or something. She's Juliana Hough, who's dating Ryan Seacrest. Do we care? I don't particularly. She's pretty, but we don't care at all about these two. We don't care at all about the Romeo and Juliet story. We don't care if she gets a job. But what we do care about is Alec Baldwin, who plays the impresario at the place that looks like BCBG's. We care enormously about Russell Brand, who plays his kind of second lieutenant. We care enormously about Catherine Zeta-Jones, or we care somewhat about Catherine Zeta-Jones, who is the mayor's wife, who was spearheading a decency campaign that says we have to get rid of this place and its music. And we care Bryan Cranston plays her philandering husband, who's the mayor, and we care enormously about Tom Cruise, who plays Stacey Jacks. Now, whether you're a Tom Cruise fan or not, this is really a role of the lifetime, and I think somehow there's something that happens to Tom Cruise when he puts on he puts on a wig. Either it's a bald head wig or dreadlocks or whatever. Apparently he did his own singing in this, and he's just plain terrific. He plays kind of a depressed, drugged out rock star who's lonesome and sad and sort of a walking sex organ to put on. And he's wonderful in this. I like this so much better than the movie, and the song, or so much better than the play. The songs are fun. You'll sing along. You'll cheer bop. Probably the best artistic movie of the week is The Artist is Present, but the most fun one is certainly Rock of Ages. You'll have a great time there. And again, it's not the young kids. It's the old, the long and truth. Alec Baldwin, Russell Brand, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and especially Tom Cruise. It's just plain fun. Now, will it beat out Madagascar and Prometheus? It might beat out Prometheus. I don't know that's going to beat out Madagascar, but it's fun, and it's worth seeing. All right, so you can check out more at drjoyreviews.com or drjoy.com. My phone number here for you who are going to call it. We're going to put Ron on next. Is couldn't quite see the computer screen. Is 800-544-7070. Time for you. I'm Dr. Joy Browne.